Radhe Radhe everyone. Good morning, good evening. Hope you had an amazing weekend. Welcome to another session of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. And I hand it over to Nitinji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Sandhya. Uh, Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Vijayji, for a wonderful session. I joined in late. I just heard Tatra, Sarvatra, Kutra, Anyatra. And then immediately this thing came to my mind. Where does Kalatra and Putra stand here? What does
Very nice.
Kalatra?
Kalatra means spouse, specifically wife.
So there is a beautiful bhajan, Putra Kalatra,
Yes, correct.
It also ends with Bahu Samichinam Dhanyavada.
Dhanyavada.
Navvadane Kendra Samaya Anusar Agrami Saptahe. Till then, Dhanyavada.
That's it. You have attained all the credits. All you need is now a certificate.
I'm speaking broken Sanskrit as well as I can. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Whatever little I've learned from your sessions only. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita today. Today we will continue our recap into the chapter 2 that we have been doing. We spent a good amount of time on the shloka 2.47, which hopefully by now we have started practicing 24/7. See, Bhagavad Gita is like that vast ocean. It's called a sentient knowledge, right? Sentient knowledge means every time you take a dip, you will bring new pearls out of it because God's Chitta Shakti is active in this knowledge. And when we read Bhagavad Gita with an understanding that these words came out of the mouth of Lord Krishna, right? Then he activates that Chitta Shakti in our intellect, and the grasping power is also very strong. Bhagavad Gita is like conversing directly with Krishna. That is how powerful it is. And today we are going to discuss upon an aspect which is pretty interesting. Okay, all of us can do an introspection around this concept as we go along. And then towards the end, we will have a discussion on our reflections around it. So without much ado, I'm going to pull up my screen. We will get started with our opening prayers like we always do. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. So hope you all had a great weekend and excited to be back. And I am certainly excited to be back. And like always, I hope the feeling is mutual. Okay. All right, we'll get started with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. All right, Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening again, all of you. Let's get started. Today I have picked up the shloka. Now, this shloka itself is talking about, I'll get into that, but just to give you a sneak peek of what we are going to discuss today is the happiness aspect of it. Right? If any one of you is thinking that they have actually extracted happiness from their lives, the happiness that they were looking for, then we would really like to take it as a case study today and understand how did they accomplish it. Okay, and that is going to be a topic of our discussion today. So let's get started. I'm going to recite the shloka and then you are welcome to follow along. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyati tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam Shrotavyasya Shrutasya cha. Okay, do we have any volunteers who want to give it a shot? Yes, our co-host is the volunteer today to begin with.
Okay, I think Shyamji maybe can go first.
Yes, Shyamji, or you can invite yourself as well. Please go ahead, Shyamji.
Radhe Radhe Shyamji.
Radhe Shyam. Yes, please go ahead.
Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatirishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Radhe Radhe.
Shyamji, outstanding. You get a best debut award once again. All right. Okay, let's take the remaining few hands and then we'll get started.
Dinesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatirishyati tada gantasi nirvedam srotavyasya sutasya cha.
Thank
Radhe
you.
Radhe.
Radhe, very nice.
Lakshmi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Lakshmi ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Yatha te moha kalilam buddhirvati karishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha.
Very nice. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Radhe Radhe. Okay, we can take
Radhe Shyam ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Shyamji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatirishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha.
Okay, no prizes
Radhe
for
Radhe.
guessing who these two were. I think it's very, very difficult to guess that. So we'll give it a pass. Okay, let's move on.
Okay,
Shyamji, would have been good to see you on camera as well.
I was about to ask for that.
Yes, please. I would like you to, if you could, if you can, please turn on your camera. It's always good. If you cannot, that's perfectly okay. Okay, let's move on.
Sam ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Samji.
Yada te moha kalilam divyati tarshiti tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice. Samji, very nice. Very nicely recited. Radhe Radhe. Okay, let's pick up the
Yeah.
remaining ones real quick. I see
Uday
new.
Kumar, sorry. Yeah. Uday Kumar ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Uday
Yeah,
Kumar ji.
Radhe Radhe. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatirishyati tada gantasi nirvedam strotavyasya srutasya cha. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice, Uday ji. Radhe Radhe. I see Monica ji today in the session. Yes, Monica ji, please go ahead.
Monica ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Arjun. Good to have you on the session. Please go ahead.
Okay. Start.
Yes, yes.
Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha.
Wonderful. Arjun gets the best debut award. Very nice. Kudos.
Thank you.
We have a young participant today as well. Okay. Okay, let's
Awesome.
move on. Awesome. Thank you. You can take the
Yeah, we have 6 more hands. Sumesh ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Sumesh ji.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji, Radhe Radhe everyone. Yada te moha kalilam buddhivarti tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam srotavyasya sutasya cha. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice. Okay, last 4 hands and then we'll get deeper into the topic today. Real quick, we can take remaining hands.
Ratna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatirishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha.
Very nice, Ratna ji. Radhe Radhe. Okay, last 3 hands.
Yes, Riya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe
Radhe Radhe.
यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च. राधे राधे.
Very nice, Radhe Radhe. Now we have last three hands.
Yes, Pragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च.
Thank you, Pragiji. Very nice. Last but one.
Shri Ramya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोताव्यस्य श्रुतास्य च.
Very nice. All right. Last but not the least, Sandhya, please go ahead.
Yes, Radhe Radhe, once again. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so let's get started. So Lord Krishna is telling here, when your intellect crosses the quagmire of delusion, you will then acquire indifference to what has been heard and what is yet to be heard. Now, the one which is in bracket is what we are going to focus on. What he's saying is, once you are intellectually convinced, how do we get intellectually convinced? We get intellectually convinced by arming our intellect with correct knowledge. Now, he says, when you arm your intellect with correct knowledge, what's going to happen is that you will become indifferent about enjoyments in this world. We will talk about the enjoyments of this world. And the next. What is the next? Okay, so he's corroborating reincarnation indirectly here. Okay, so we will talk about the two aspects: the supposed enjoyments of this world and the possibility of worlds hereafter. Okay, it will blow your minds away to understand how vast is this expansion. That is what we are going to touch upon, and then we will touch upon the possibility of enjoyments that we are seeking. We all love enjoyment, right? Anything and everything that we do is for the sake of enjoyment. We are seeking bliss. And there's a reason for that. It's a spiritual law. Nobody teaches us to seek bliss, but we have to seek bliss because we are fragmental parts of God, who's an ocean of bliss. And because of that, our nature, inherent nature, is to seek bliss. The day we are born, we declare to the world by crying that I am here to seek happiness. Crying is also a way of seeking bliss because we are offloading our misery which we undergo at the time of birth. Anyways, let's get started. So the topic that we are going to discuss today is this. And it seems like the very next exit we are going to get, and then we'll have, I have arrived. My purpose of life for which I was born is fulfilled. It seems like just the next exit away. This is what we are going to talk about. Now, if you are one of the few people who wonder that, that perfect happiness, it just continues to elude us. Maybe our happiness quotient when Doordarshan was there was more, and when the cable TV came, it started diminishing. I don't know why, even though I'm getting more choices now. But that's a symptom of a bigger problem. This is what we are going to discuss today. So let's get started. We will start with, we start usually with Shravana. Today we'll start with Nididhyasan. Nididhyasan means where your intellect will formally say, yes, it is. Okay, we'll start with a quick exercise around that just to get the thought process going and give a bit of a exercise to our gray cells. Okay. Now I'm going to show you some pictures, some beautiful pictures that you're going to appreciate. Right? Alice in Wonderland. Then we see the second one is, you see the Santa. And then you see a dreamland as well. So what is common between these three pictures? Too good to be true? What is common between these pictures? Anybody? I hope you're liking it, okay? Nobody's finding them something they don't want to see.
Samji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Yeah, looks like the sparkles, light, happiness, sparkles in all the trees are there. It is light sparkles, I guess.
Yes, Lakshmiji also says lights.
It gives you a feel-good factor, right? Yeah, that's true. Yes. Anybody else?
Joanji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I think it's just a fantasy. It's a hope. It's just a make believe because that's not real. Alice in Wonderland is not real. All of that is just a fantasy in our mind, hoping that we can attain it. It's a dream.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Just to make it easy, I did not throw in a Spider-Man here. Okay, but yeah, okay. Let's hear from a few more people.
Uday Kumarji says attraction to our senses. Let's hear from Pallavichi.
Pallavi.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Nitinji, Radhe Radhe, everyone. So I believe that these all common things in all these pictures are that we are trying to believe that there is that perfect happiness which someone else can bring it to us. Like Santa can bring that happiness, or that dreamland is something which will bring that eternal happiness that we are trying to find.
True. Very true. Okay, we'll get Rupaji last and then we'll continue with the topic.
And there are two more comments like Radhe Sham says expectations of happiness, as Pallaviji said. And Monica ji says space outside Earth.
Space outside Earth, yeah. That is the lateral thinking. Yes, we'll talk about the space outside Earth today as well. Yes, Rupaji.
And Rupaji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, everyone. I feel that really whatever you've shown is really a wonderful or a fairyland or a fantasy world which gives really happiness to us and which is showing a bright light. That's the temporary light. What we are searching for the real light of Krishna, and that is the real happiness. What we have to find it. But in this world, what we are finding happiness with is the present pictures what we have shown.
Got it. All right. Fair enough. I think all of you are right in some sense. You got the gist of it. Now, let me tell, these are the promises of Maya. Okay. This is the promise of Maya. Maya itself means that which is not. And this is something. Now, if this kid or the kids, right, they're actually when they come to know Santa. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. Now, if this kid continues to believe that, this is the reality, what happens? What would you tell that kid? They grow out of it, right? Eventually, they grow out of it and they understand part of it. A lot of things there come as a initial thing, but they can't come to accept with the fact that, all right, as life catches up, you start understand it's kind of a promise your mind had created, but life is not quite as rosy. And then we start going to theaters and movies to live that thing vicariously, right? But the point is, these are all promises of Maya. Our scriptures say that it is possible to extract oil out of sand. It is possible to pass a camel through the eye of a needle, but it is not possible to extract happiness out of the material world. Okay? It is just like trying to churn butter out of lime water. Although it looks white, can you extract butter out of lime water no matter how hard or for how long you keep on churning it? You cannot, because it is not milk, even though it may look white. So these are all promises of Maya which we keep falling for. Now, if a kid continues to behave that way when they become 25 or 30, you will say, come on, give me a break. Right? But we are also adults with the mind of a kid when it comes to the promises of Maya we keep on seeking. Okay, that is the irony of our lives as well. So let's look at it. So this blind pursuit, it has been going on across lifetimes, and yet there is no sight of happiness. So there is a guy here, right? This is the milestone of happiness that we have given ourselves. Okay, if I get this, I'll be happy. So what happens? There's a pursuit that begins, it reaches, and the goalpost shifts. Okay, then what happens? It reaches, goalpost shifts. Then what happens? The next lifetime, same drama unfolds. Right? What's happening? Same thing is happening. Your goalpost keeps on shifting, but we are not able to understand This happiness, which seems to be elusive to us, was never there. Okay, so our scriptures are telling us that this pursuit is continuing and it will not get satiated, and there is a reason for that. There's a technical reason for that. We'll get into that. Now, this pursuit that we are talking about, let's look at the possibility of it. When we talk about this pursuit, it continues, like Lord Krishna is saying, and the next life as well. So what are the possibilities of life, right? I think Monica ji said outside Earth. We will talk about the scenarios of creation now today. Okay, it's a very mind-blowing concept. So pay close attention and you will be amazed to see how vast this creation is. So this is a universe. Okay, Brahmand as we call it. Okay, big one. Let's say this is the entire material creation. Now within that you have multiple Brahmands. Brahmand is a universe. See, universe itself is a unis signifies there's one. Actually, it is multiverses. So for our frame of reference, because we have four-headed Brahma administering our Brahmand, it is a smaller, one of the smallest Brahmands. Similar to that, there are multiple Brahmands, right? And those Brahmas are 10-headed, 50-headed, 100-headed, 1,000-headed, million-headed, trillion-headed. We don't even know how many headed. Okay, in Krishna Leela, if you go, there's Krishna says, Brahma goes on to meet him and Brahma says, tell, it's Brahmaji who has come to meet you. So Krishna said, okay, let me put things in perspective of our Brahmaji. He says, ask him which Brahmaji. And Brahmaji think, which Brahmaji, what does that mean? And then Krishna calls upon all the Brahmajis, and when he sees other Brahmas, he was the one with the least number of heads. So we can imagine how vast their universes must be. Okay. So let's look at it. This is our Brahmand. And this whole Brahmands of all the different headed Brahmas is just 1/3 of this creation. Bhagavatam tells us this material world, as we know it, we don't even know our Brahmand. Forget about knowing our Brahmand, we don't even know our solar system. Forget about knowing our solar system, we don't even know all, and the different things that exist in our solar system itself. And then within that we have our earth, and then we have our country, and then our city, and then our zip code, and our family, and then our existence. So we can understand how insignificant we are in grand scheme of things. But anyways, nevertheless, this is all material world, and this is where we are rotating right now. Scriptures say the possibilities of life in 8.4 million species is not limited to planet Earth alone. It can go into any Brahmand of any Brahma. We don't know that algorithm. Okay, and this is only 1/3 of the world. Beyond that, there is something called Birja River. Okay, this is coming from scriptures. It's not a fantasy like Alice in Wonderland. Now we are going beyond, not even Earth. We are going beyond the entire material creation. Beyond material creation, there is a Birja River. It's kind of on the border, where Brahmaleen people who merged with the effulgence of God, who thought God to be Nirakar and light, they rest in perpetual bliss. That is where the Birja River is. Beyond Birja River comes, it's called Parvyom Lok. This is the 2/3 of the creation. It is twice as large as this entire material world. And what does it entail? Golok, where Lord Krishna resides, Saket Lok, where Lord Ram resides, Vaikunt, where Narayana Avatar, Vishnu, and Shiv Lok, Devi Lok, all the lokas are there, depending upon which Ishtadev you worship, and you have perfected their devotion. Not just worshipped, you have perfected their devotion, you can go there. Okay, that is what our scriptures say. So this is all the creation. Now, within each Brahmand, what are the possibilities? Within Brahmand also, see, you can go across Brahmands, and within Brahmands also you can rotate. And what are those possibilities? Let's look at it. Within Brahmand, this is the entire Brahmand. What does it entail? It entails, we call it, right? Gayatri Mantra Vidhu Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. So the middle planet is ours basically. My screen sometimes hangs. The Bhuloka is where we are. It's called the middle Loka. Similar to that, we have Bhuva. Then you have these planets which are called upper planets. Okay. And similar to upper planets, we have Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, Patal. And then there are 28 Narakloks also. If we are not doing good deeds, right? We have heard about Narakloks. Garud Puran talks about it. 28 Narakloks are there as well. So all these lokas give us an opportunity to experience different kinds of blisses. Right? Whatever bliss we are feeling here, for whatever reason, right? Just having a good car, good family, good house, a good cause, whatever bliss we are feeling, in the upper planets, it keeps on increasing. And I'll tell you the factor by which it increases. Our scriptures tell us beautifully everything. And that bliss continues to diminish. In fact, even the miseries can increase many folds if we have not done good deeds. So people who repeat on Mrityulok or Earth are the ones who have a mixed bag of good and bad deeds. If you have done primarily good deeds, you will go to the upper planets. And the possibilities are high. Swarglok and Maharjana, Tapo, Satya, I mean, up all the way up to Brahmalok, there are immense possibilities of blisses. And if you have not done so many good deeds, you have done a lot of crimes and hurt people and stuff like that. And then you go to the nether regions and then come back there as well. So these are the possibilities. You can imagine how vast this creation is. It's unbelievable. We can't even think about it. Right? Each Brahmand has these possibilities. And our Brahmand is the smallest Brahmand out of all the Brahmands, a four-headed Brahma. And our Brahmaji's celebrated his golden jubilee. He's in 51st year. Okay, so you can congratulate him in private whenever you get to, think or meet him. So these are the possibilities of our universe. Now let's look at the happiness that we are seeking in this world in perspective. You may be thinking, you know what? I'm happy. It's not too bad basically here, but I'll put that happiness in perspective. Okay, I can see a few hands already. Let's take a few questions and I'll move forward.
Sai Ramji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I was wondering if this Brija river is the same thing as Brahma Jyoti?
Yes, I mean, I can confirm that, but Virja river is where the Brahma Jyoti, see, this is what it is called for Jnanis. When they worship, right? When they worship God, they worship on the light effulgence part of it because they are not willing to believe God is beyond light as well. So it said the God's body or even his toenail reflects so much of light that they just merge with that light. So that Brahma Jyoti that you talk about, that Jnanis which worship, it could be the same, right? That effulgence of God. And Birja river is where those Brahmaleen people reside. Okay, people who worship God in a formless aspect as light.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
And they perfect their devotion. That is the premise there. Yeah. So it's just like Swamiji gives a very beautiful example to you. He said, from a distance, it seems like a light. Right? When you're on a railway station, you see a train, it seems like a light from distance. And as it comes closer, you see it in full glory. It's not light, it's a big train, there are compartments, there are so many things to it. So similarly, from a distance, it appears as a light, but when you get to the personal form of God, that's where you can interact with him. And I'll talk about the different possibilities of Ras also today. That is the topic of our discussion for the next couple of days as well. Yes, any other question before we proceed further?
Yeah, there are a couple of questions, and I also had just one in continuation with what Sai Ramji asked. So people who seek and attain moksha, they go to Birja river. Is that right? And
yeah,
and is it possible for them to get out of Birja river and go to Para?
A good question. So Maharaji says, when you merge with God, right? Na rahega baans, na bajegi bansuri. He said it's better to be human, at least have an opportunity at getting personal bliss of God. Having said that, he's also stated that few people who might have had sanskars of bhakti in one of their past lifetimes, and if God graces them, they could, uplift themselves out of that state and get the bhakti ras. And the different ras of bhaktis, I'm going to briefly touch upon it today. I'll expound on it in greater detail in a couple of days, next few sessions. But I'll touch upon the possibilities of bliss for us souls in subsequent slides. Okay, I'll get into that aspect as well. Yes, Samji?
And And there's one more question from Monica ji. Do we ever face or experience anything from these lokas in our day-to-day lives?
I don't know. I think the Devatas have stopped coming to our planet Earth because of global warming, COVID, and other problems that are here. But do they come? Possibly in other yugas, they do. Even now, if you know, it is said that Hanumanji is still there, right, in Kali Yuga. And some people say he came to our temple. You know, when Ram, this part was going on, there was nobody in the temple, you know, who could recite those chopais, and people were getting tired, and one guy came with a lot of energy and did dhol and all the mantras and left off. Nobody knows, and people have a reason to believe is Hanuman, right? Yes, possibly they come, but there's no way for us to know that, even if they come, right? Because we don't have the divine vision or that understanding. But as such, they are separated, logically separated for a good reason, right? So many stars we see in the sky, they are not just for the decoration purpose. There are just too many possibilities out there on this universe. Maybe one more question we'll take, and you'll be amazed to see some of the other slides that I'm going to talk about today, the possibilities of bliss and stuff like that. So if you have a quick question, we can take that. Otherwise, we can take it towards the end as well.
Samji, Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be try to be rather quick. These 28 Nark lokas on top of these 14 lokas, upper and lower. And second thing, at the end of Brahma's day, 12 hours, all the lokas up to Maharlok, they get kind of in Mahodar. So where is Brahmalok, Brahma's own lok? It doesn't show up anywhere. Is it supposed to be somewhere, or just happen to be a?
I think after Satyalok, there is check it out where the Brahmalok will fit in here, or which one is it? And Naraklok, I believe it falls in the southern direction of all the lokas, more down below. But I can check out the exact direction for it and where Brahmalok will fit in as well. So
And 28 lokas on top of, I mean, in addition to upper and lower, 7 plus 28.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, got it.
That's how I've understood. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Arunji.
Yes, Arunji, Radhe, please go ahead.
I can ask later if you have a lot of content to cover.
Go ahead, please. We can.
Okay. Just a couple of questions. So one is that in this sphere, egg-shaped thing over here, where is the ocean where Garbhodakshai Vishnu resides?
The Kshirodakshai and Garbhodakshai Vishnu. That's I think it's somewhere in the Paramvyu lok. So if you look at Vaikunt, right? Vaikunt is where Narayan with Lakshmi is there. So possibly it's part of the spiritual, because when the Mahapralay happens, it's only the material world that ceases to exist. The spiritual world, Kshirodakshai, that Kshir Sagar where he's there, right? They all continue to exist, because that's where in this Mahodar. So I would imagine somewhere in the Paramvyu lok, and I believe it's probably Vaikunt or somewhere that is where it exists, because you don't get the personal bliss of God, right? Vaikunt is where you get the bliss of God from a distance, Sankhya Bhav, right? Part of it, but I think it's part of the Paramvyu lok only. I've just
and
stuff here, yeah.
Thank you. And the second question I had is, so I mean, the scriptures basically say that Tripadisya Mritan Divi, right? Like, so basically 1/3 is the spiritual world and 1/4 is the material world, it says, right?
Okay, maybe you are right. That's 1/4 and 3/4 is the better, not 1/3 and 2/3. I'll make that correction and confirm that.
No, I just wanted to confirm if that was the case. Okay.
Yeah, it could be 1/4 and 3/4, not 1/3 and 2/3. Yeah.
Okay.
The bottom line is what a material lok is pretty small in comparison to the spiritual lokas that we have no idea about as yet, because we have not been there. And once you go to spiritual loka, you don't come back. But yeah, I'll check it out. I think it's 1/4 and 3/4 is the right proportion and not 1/3 and 2/3. All right. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on then. Now let's look at the happiness aspect of it in perspective as well. The guy, I've spoken about it in the past, but let's revisit it. Here is a guy, let's say it's on planet Earth. It's a story of our lives, okay? Just to put our happiness in perspective, whatever thing we are hoping to derive happiness from. Now this person is intelligent, super intelligent, okay? Walking encyclopedia. And he has absolute power over this planet, the entire planet, maybe president of US or president of Earth or something like that. I'm just creating a case, okay? Hypothetically, okay? So this guy is super intelligent, ruler of entire planet, and he has a healthy body and at the prime of his youth. Okay. Whenever we are at the prime of our youth, whether it's 16, 18, 21, 24, whatever, and he has a healthy body and he's at the peak power of his youth. Okay. And the subjects are favorably aligned to this person. Subjects means he doesn't have to experience a breakup. His spouse is perfect, right? His relatives are very supportive. His parents are supportive, and his neighbors and pretty much everybody around they are very supportive. So favorable subjects also. Let's say in Prithvi Lok or Mrityu Lok, somebody had the privilege of all of these factors together, possibly. Then it is called, and plus, let me add another variable to it. They had all possible luxuries as well. So money is not a problem. Money, power, fame, youth, health, favorable subjects, everything is there for this person. Right? Through our experience, we know it's not possible. Right? But let's say hypothetically it was possible. Then what happens? This is called 1 unit of happiness on Mrityu Lok. 1 unit of happiness. Okay. Give me a sec. My screen keeps on freezing and that gives me a bit of trouble. Okay, now it's better. Now, if that was the case, this is 1 unit of happiness on earth. Okay. Let's put the happiness in perspective. Our scriptures say that. Now, we know it's not practically possible. Somebody's, have one thing, they don't have the other. If they have everything, their mother-in-law, son-in-law, father-in-law, spouse, some problem will be their neighbor, country, whatever. Some kind of a problem will be there. But hypothetically, if that was the case, that is 1 unit of happiness. Our scriptures say you multiply it by 1,000. That is 1 unit of Manav Gandharv happiness. Okay, that is the next level of happiness that we can get based on our karmas. Okay, it doesn't stop here. Then you multiply it by 1,000. It is called 1 Dev Gandharv happiness. That is the possibility. I don't know how can you extract more happiness, but there must be a way, and the vessel is given to you so that you can absorb that happiness, and it is possible to be experienced. It is called 1 Dev Gandharv happiness. Then you multiply it by 1,000. It is called 1 Pitri Lok happiness. Forefathers where they go. Okay. You multiply it by 1,000. It is Ajanak Lok happiness. You multiply with 1,000. You get is 1 Karam Dev happiness. You multiply by 1 unit of Dev happiness. And who is Devaraj Indra? We know. You multiply it by 1,000. That is what the 1 unit of Indra's happiness is. So if you become Indra, which we possibly have in one of our lifetimes, this is the amount of happiness you can extract from this world. It doesn't stop here. Okay. Now he's the king of heavenly regions. However, his happiness is also not as much as his Brahaspati. The 1,000 unit, that is 1 unit of Brahaspati's happiness, who is the guru of Indra. Then you multiplied 1, that is Prajapati. He's one of the original progenitors, and then the creation of that is 1 unit of Prajapati. And you multiplied by that is 1 unit of Brahma. And they are all under the realm of Maya. And they are all having this sense of, okay, I need something more. Happiness is around the next exit. We keep on saying that. They are also under the same problem. That is what our scriptures say. So we can imagine what are the possible. First of all, what this happiness that we are trying to extract here, if we put it in perspective, it's not even worth it, right? If we really understand what are the possibilities. Secondly, even if we were to get it and we were convinced that we are going to one day get happiness from this world, these are the possibilities, and all the way up to Brahmalok, they still will feel I'm living on 99. That one thing, only if I have that one thing, that will make me feel, I'm happy. Okay, so this is how happiness scale goes. There is a reason for that, right? So we'll get into that as well. Now, the bliss aspect of it that we are seeking, this is a spiritual law. We have no choice but to seek. You cannot say, I will not seek bliss. Right? Everybody is seeking bliss. However, where we seek bliss, we have spoken about this concept as well. We have a choice there. Okay. Now, let's talk about the 2 places where bliss is possible. There are only 2 places in this world. One is in the realm of this world, and other is the realm of God. Okay. material, which is called Bhukti, and other is called divine. Now, if you tap it, the bliss in the material world against time, if you look at it, these are the three things that happen. First of all, it is finite in extent, it diminishes over time, and it is temporary. Our experience will tell us that. Okay, nobody can claim they got a bliss and it persisted. Right? People who drink heavily, you ask them in the morning, what happened? Now I'm having a headache. What I was feeling yesterday, I'm not feeling today. Yesterday was exciting, today I'm bored. So it diminishes. It's finite in extent, it's temporary. It finishes off. And the scriptures tell us the other is the bliss of God. It satiates you and it increases over time. Okay, people who do sadhana and part of seva, they will start experiencing, relishing traces of it to begin with. Okay, that is an experience will start telling you that. It is infinite in extent, right? It's a bliss of God, and we are spirit soul. We are actually divine. So it's like fish out of water. The day it starts getting a drop of water, it says, now I've gotten what I was looking for. Your experience will tell you. It is ever fresh. You don't get bored with it. Okay, unlike the material rasa, and it is everlasting. Once comes, it never goes back. It's not like yesterday I got the divine bliss, today it evaporated like material bliss does. It persists. It only becomes better with time. Right? Hard to understand, but yeah, that's how it goes. That's what our scriptures tell us. Now let's look at what are the possibilities of bliss we are talking about here, right? See, we are going to seek bliss, but the direction that we have taken is just gadbad. We were supposed to go to Kashmir. We have taken a track towards Kanyakumari. So when you come to know, you start turning your, course correction of your route. That's all it is needed, nothing else. That is what spirituality is all about. But then we are not convinced, right? We continue focusing on the stuff that we think is going to eventually give us happiness. Now let's talk about divine bliss. Now this is the one. It might be a little overwhelming today, but I'm not going to discuss it in detail, maybe in the coming sessions. But let's understand it in perspective. What are the possibilities of divine bliss now? We have not even experienced material bliss properly. First of all, let's understand that. Right? I showed you that chart. If we were to go in the divine path, what are the possibilities? Let's look at that. There is Brahmanand, there is Premanand. Okay. We will get into those details later. Brahmanand is called Nirakar, people who worship God as light. Premanand is people who worship God in his personal form. Within Premanand, there is Aishwarya and Madhurya. One is where you are impressed with God's magnificent form. Other is Madhurya, where you fall in love with God. It's love-based devotion, right? Within that, there is a possibility, right? I will not get into details today, maybe tomorrow or day after, right? There are three categories of Madhurya Ras, and then the Dwarka Ras, Mathura Ras, Braj Ras, Vrindavan Ras, Kunj Ras, Nikunj Ras, Nivrit Nikunj Ras. Jivatma can go up to this Ras. That is the topmost possibility for you and I, basically. Okay. Ashtasakis get up to Nikunj, and Nivrit Nikunj is reserved for God only. Now, how is these rasas different? We will talk in more detail in coming sessions, but let's understand these are the categories of divine bliss in greater detail. And we have not tasted even a drop of it. We have not even tasted a drop of material rasa. We have possibly in our last lifetimes, but we know the limitation of it. Up to Brahmalok, it will be finite. You'll still have a feeling I need more, and it will give you a law of diminishing returns. First day this much, you watch a movie, how nice it was. Second day your friend comes, say, let's go for a movie. You enjoy it, but not as much. Third time you say, come for, say, no, please, I will not. Fourth time, they'll say anything but that movie. Same thing happens with Bollywood music also, right? That is the symptom of material rust that we get in this world. Yes, Sairamji, any question?
Yes, Sairamji, please go ahead.
Radhe, I'll try to make it as quick as possible. I was wondering between Madhurya and Aishwarya, there is quite a few more levels, right? Or my misunderstanding, like Dhasya Bhav and different bhavs are there between.
Yes, I have broadly categorized. Madhurya is the topmost bhav. It starts with Sankhya Bhav. I'll bring in Vaikuntha also in perspective, right? Vaikuntha, and then it starts with your Dasya Bhav, and then you get into Sakha Bhav, and then you get into Vatsalya Bhav, and then you get into Madhurya Bhav. So those bhavs I've just expressed it that on one side you you are associating with the grandness of God. On the other side, you are associating with the personal form. Madhurya is the topmost of those bhavs as well. Very true. I will get into that as well. I've just given a broader category here. But yes, you are right. There are lower bhavs also, starting with Sankhya Bhav.
So within Madhurya itself, there are these many.
Yes, within Madhurya, the rasas are varied. Dwarka ras, Mathura ras, Braj ras, then Vrindavan ras, and after Vrindavan, Kunj ras, Nikunj ras, and Nibrid Rikunj ras. So they are all like different subdivisions within that ras as well. It's like bitter butter, better butter, and it just continues. In devotion, it is said that there is no full moon. It's not like we have gotten the maximum possible thing. Okay. But anyways, we will leave it for a different day discussion. I will continue on this, expounding upon this topic. What I'm trying to tell here is the possibilities of happiness for a soul like us. Okay, these are the possibilities which are there. And we are happy in this material world, even though we haven't even gotten that proper material rest also, right? Because that is not proper in a way. It's always going to give you that feeling of dissatisfaction, regardless of whether you become Elon Musk or a president of this world in this, or go all the way up to Indra or even Brahmalok. Same problem will be there. You will not feel satisfied. That is what our scriptures say. Now, two ways we can learn. We can say, okay, we will trust the scriptures and really start, changing our direction where we are seeking bliss, or we'll say, no, I first want to become Indra, experience it, and I'll do it. Both options are there. But in order to become Indra, also you'll have to do a lot of deeds, right? Pious deeds. People feel happy going to Swarglok, right? When they say that late Shri, Swargiya Shri. So Swarg is not a good destination, is what our scriptures are telling us if you go deep into that concept. Now let's talk about Bhukti aspect of it, right? This is where the problem lies. And I want to have a bit of a discussion here. See, we pick up agendas in our life. This is the bliss, right? No choice but to seek. And Bhukti is where we are stuck. And what forms Bhukti takes? Aspirations, perfect life, family, relatives, potlucks, parties, vacations, right? Where we are seeking bliss, trying to extract that. Isms, Marxism, communism, patriotism, so many isms, right? We pick up a cause, personal aspirations, money, power, fame. We think these things will actually make our life successful, or sense gratifications that we anyway do. Now, these are the limiting factors. Okay. Nobody has gotten happy, basically, as scriptures say. If you do that, there might be some noble intentions around there, but they are not perfectly directed as yet. So these things are where we are getting stuck. Bhukti, it is called Bhukti Ras. And divine Ras is where. So here I'm going to put a full stop and open it up for any questions that you may have, or a discussion around the material Ras that is so alluring to our mind. That is where we are getting stuck, right? These are the things which we think: perfect life, family, relatives. We are just too busy, too hung up in playing this game, and really not convinced that, this happiness is not here. And our intellect will tell us, you know what, I'm not happy, but other person is. And you go and ask other person, they will say, you know what, I'm not happy, but the other person is. And this basically hallucination continues in our intellect, and we never accept that there is no happiness in this world. One, because we don't have access to the proper knowledge. We have heard it but not thought about it. Second, we don't come in contact with a God-realized saint who can explain the scriptures as they are. Yes, I can see a couple of hands. Now we can open it up.
So there are some comments in the chat. So can I first read that?
Sure.
So there was one which is very much related to what you just mentioned by Champaji. During growing up, we watch certain reality shows diligently, which are screened on TV. But as we grow up, we realize the shows are staged and not real. As we grow up, we become indifferent to the same show. As we go ahead in the spiritual path, the material world slowly loses appeal. We should try to get into the state of param vairagya, or ultimate indifference.
True. Yeah, very true. It's like that stage show. It's just like watching that movie, we say, right? We start shedding tears watching a movie. We start living the emotions that actor or actress is making you feel. And life is like that only. It's only when you come in contact with right knowledge. It's just like right knowledge is like somebody turning on the light all of a sudden in that theater, and then you realize, oh, it was just a screen, which thing was being projected and I was participating in it, and then you become a spectator. So life is also like that. When it is said, I don't know, maybe we have forgotten, all of us have experienced it and forgotten, when you depart from this life, right? And when your slideshow comes in front of you, then you realize, oh, this is what it was. And then again, I can continue to participate the way I did. How big fool I made out of myself. And then it just keeps on repeating. Okay, it's a great point. I can see a couple of other hands. Let's take them.
Yeah, there were some questions as well. So maybe we can take them up after we, yeah. So Manish ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, wonderful session. Nitinji, I have a confusion that hopefully you'll be able to clarify when it comes to Brahma, because Brahmaji is considered as part of the material world or Maya, yet we say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. And then even in the Shivarti, it says Pranarakshar me sobita yetino eka. So we see Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha is the same. But also from what I understood, Brahma originally had 5 heads, right? And God took one off because of some dumb or something. So in that way, I guess Maya. So if you could clarify that, because how do we consider him part of the Guru Brahma, if he's part of the Maya world?
Sure. So Brahmaji, let me explain that. He's part of the, please understand that I've read that question and I had that same question as well, and it will come in Bhagavad Gita as well. So
sorry for the confusion, I'm sorry.
Brahmaji, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Indra is also after Brahma's post, and you can actually become Brahma as well. Okay, scriptures tell us the entire process. If you were to become, Indra, how much pious deeds you need and what kind of things you need to do, and same thing for Brahmaji as well. Now, Brahmaji, if you think about Brahmaji, is actually Jivatma can become Brahma. You and I can become Brahma. Okay, if we reach that stage. Having said that, there are times when there is no eligible soul, Jivatma, for the post of Brahma for that Brahmand. It's like an army recruitment. If you don't get the right candidate, God is not going to fill up that post just for the sake of it. In those cases, God himself become Brahma to administer that. Okay.
Okay.
His planetary expansion takes on the role of a Brahma as well. Second, because Brahma does such a big work for God and he's an elevated soul, typically after completing his tenure as Brahma of 100 years, we know the age, right? He also becomes God realized. So Brahma's position is unique in that sense. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, yes, that clarifies. Thank you very much.
Why we say that is because Guru is the one who, first of all, creates the knowledge, faith in our head. He preserves it like Vishnu, maintains it, and then dispels the ignorance. That is why he says Guru Deva Maheshwara. So he's just like God. He not only gives you the knowledge, he preserves it, maintains it, and then dispels the ignorance aspect of it as well. That is why it is said Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. But Brahma becomes God realized after his tenure is over, and sometimes God takes on the form of a Brahma as well. And at the same time, a Jivatma can become Brahma as well. All three things.
Okay, so it's not like Indra or Indra. We like you said, we may have been Indra in the past, but now we're back in the Maya world. It's not like that. Brahma gets God realized after his.
But Brahma typically gets God realized because of the duty, the magnitude of the duty that he performs, and it's very special, right? Which gets
okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
No worries. Yes.
Monica ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead. Monica ji.
Oh, sorry. I thought someone else's name. Sorry, Radhe Radhe. Nitinji, I had a question that I know a lot of people who, not a lot of people, but then a lot of people whose like in-laws or parents have gotten into Radha Swami's, groups. And then what they do is they meditate, but then they also neglect, if I can use the word, other are forms of gods like Krishna or let's say Sri Ram. They don't even want to keep the idols in their houses. And at the same time, the other day we were having the conversation about karma, right? So one of the very reasons for them not acting is they just want to meditate and they think that they'll attain Bhukti. And that's one of the reasons of their inaction. They're not really worried about what's happening around them, and they would not even react if something wrong happens in front of them. So what happens to these? I mean, is this a good understanding, or what happens to these people? Do they really get moksha as what Radha Swami makes them believe so, or I don't know if there's a
the true spirit. See, that's why. First of all, any knowledge or any practice that is being followed, if it is not coming from the authority of Vedas, okay, then that practice itself has a cap or a limit around it, or it could be erroneous as well, right? These days, so many philosophies are propagating. So that part is there. Second aspect of it is whichever spiritual practice you are following, if it is not making you more aware about around your environment and your duties and responsibilities, and you are actually insulating yourself from that and running away from that, turning your back towards that, then there is some problem there. Now, I cannot comment on a particular sect what they do in that case, but the actual spirituality will not only propel you into action, but make you a better human being all around. Not somebody who will turn his back away to everything and they say, okay, I'm just going to do my sadhana and attain moksha. That's not the purpose of spirituality, and that's not what Krishna is telling Arjuna as well. Arjuna asked this question to Krishna, that if the aim of life is to do godrealization, why take the trouble of fighting this war? I might as well go to a forest and become a sannyasi. And Krishna actually tells him, no, this is not how it works. You have to first purify your intentions. You have to understand the science of work. You have to go through the Karam Yoga aspect of it. Karam Yoga is what? Purifying your intentions, understanding how to live responsibly, dutifully, and beautifully in this earth. Then you are eligible for those high things. So maybe that's something they are giving themselves a hope and stuff like that. But if your practice is not having a firm foundation of proper scriptural knowledge, then good luck. That's all I'll say. Good luck to them. I mean, everybody's free to believe whatever they want to believe. Doesn't mean it's actually true. So that's where the role of a true guru comes in, and it has to be through a scriptural reference, not something that I'm telling you, so believe it. If it is stated in scriptures, if multiple saints have said it, and if your realized guru is saying it, these three tests, if it succeeds, good. Otherwise, it's a very risky proposition, right? Just to believe in something. There was a guy who took people to mass suicide. He made them believe that, you commit suicide and God is waiting for you. All these terrorists, they are promised, you will get so many who's, and your family will get all these brownie points and freebies if you do this act, and they do that. Does it mean it is right? So there is a lot of erroneous stuff going around as well, and each one up to its own. That is where God says, Krishna says, be very careful about where you start putting your belief in, because I'm going to solidify it regardless. And based on our past sanskars and what we are seeking, we typically end up finding that path as well. And then we learn it the hard way. So it's very difficult to say what people are doing, but typically if it's not backed with proper knowledge or scriptural references, it could be a risky path as well. But if somebody is becoming irresponsible around things now, it's usually not a good sign. I mean, that's my long answer to your short question. Hopefully it answered a part of it at least.
Smita ji has also asked a question. You have mentioned different lokas. My question is, to get elevated to different lokas, the path is through human life. Like, in order to get elevated, is the path through human life. And every time one has to take human life for progress, how long one stayed in the particular lok?
See, I don't have the algorithm for that. All it says is that in human life is the only opportunity where you can make deposits. It's like a bank. You have a bank, right? And then bank, what do you do in bank? You make deposits, and then you withdraw money. In human life, you can make deposits. In other lokas, they are called bhogyonis. You can only make withdrawals. So let's say you have made so many deposits, maybe God will put you to Swargalok. If you have made this many, maybe he'll put you to, Prajapati Lok. If you have made this much, maybe to Brahma Lok. I don't know that algorithm. But once you go there, you cannot make further deposits. You can only withdraw. So once your account is withdrawn completely, all the pious deeds are exhausted, then you are back to 8.4 million. So after becoming Indra, you can again become an ant. That is the risk. It's not like after Indra, you'll at least become a human. No, you can again become an ant, spider, scorpion, anything. That is what the scriptures are telling us. So that is why what they tell us, you should only if you have knowledge will you be able to reject bhukti and mukti. Mukti is also rejected basically by a devotee, right? Moksha we think is the ultimate aim. No. Devotee says you have to go beyond that too. We'll talk about that topic tomorrow or day after. But if you don't have knowledge, you will settle down for that only. See, if you don't have knowledge, small thing can trip us down. How? If you get a lottery, let's say you get an immense power on this earth, or you become very famous, that itself will trip you down. You will lose sense of your sanity and think, okay, I have arrived, and waste this life. So God has not even started testing us with the carrots, possible carrots, and the carrots go all the way up to Brahmalok. Just imagine. And spirituality becomes a serious business beyond a point, because like Monica ji asked, if you start following a practice with a firm belief, right, and it's like a blind man leading other, then it could be treacherous path where you are not getting it, and your sanskars are deepening lifetime after lifetime. Next life also you will find somebody like that and start doing that practice, because that's what you have done in your past lifetimes also. Then it's like a rabbit hole you are getting into. It can be a little treacherous. So coming in contact with the right guru, part of that responsibility lies on us. How? Why are we seeking? Are we seeking for material gains? Right? If you're going toward material gains, you can fall into so many things, right? There are spiritual gurus who will say, eat samosas and this and do that, and you will get this, right? You will fall into those things as well. That is also a possibility. If you think I'm going to go to Swarglok is the aim, there are people, spiritual people who say, listen to my discourse and Swarg will roll out a red carpet for you, and you are happy with that. So ask yourself your intention. Why are you seeking something? And God will not lead you astray in that case. If you are seeking God, for the right reasons, with the purity of intention and heart, it will lead you to the right person, because God is seated within. He's noting down our deepest intentions. So if you are fallen for somebody, I would say the 50% of the blame, I don't know what is the proportion, lies with you as well, because your intentions were not pure. That is the reason. It's not somebody tricked you. Okay, that person will go to hell anyways, but it is part of your problem as well, because your intentions were incorrect. You're not seeking God for God, and that is why you did not end up with the right person. Yes, Srinathji.
Amazing answer. And Srinathji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's a shared accountability of finding a true guru. We cannot say somebody fooled us or this world is full of cheats only. You had a cheating propensity inside as well. Your intentions were not pure. You seeked something material, and that's why you fell for that person. It's the shared accountability on this. Yes.
Radhe Radhe and everyone. So thank you for excellent set of slides and the information. It is so very informative, and it helps so much the way you organize things and all. It's just amazing, very blissful. So just a quick question related to moksha. Is it the case that I know that I think a lot of people, they want moksha, liberation, all these things. Even I think there is a Shiva mantra that talks about Mahamrityunjaya mantra.
Yes.
I think.
Trambakam yajamahe, right? Yep.
So if one attains moksha, does that mean that they are out of the life and death cycle?
Yes, yes. Moksha is not an ordinary thing. It is a spiritual goal. Having said that, I'm just going deeper, because we are talking philosophy here. We are talking the possibilities beyond moksha also, especially on the devotion path. Moksha is dukha nivritti only. So from minus you have come to zero. But in order from zero, there's a lot of possibility to go into positive also. That's essentially what I'm saying. So moksha is not an ordinary thing. Once you are in moksha, you are beyond this cycle of life and death. But what I'm trying to tell you is Brahmanand is not the ultimate thing. There is Premanand, and within Premanand, there are so many categories. Like I went all the way up to, Kunj, Nikunj, and all that stuff. We will get into those details, very, very philosophical discussions around that. But moksha is not an ordinary thing. Okay? It is like Gita ends at moksha only.
Yes. And I guess once one is God realized, moksha is automatic.
It's also God. Moksha is also God realization, but in his impersonal form.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Radhe Radhe, and everyone.
God realization, moksha is also God realization, but not a realization in in complete sense, because we have not really tasted the ultimate bliss of God as yet. We have, kind of, which is again great thing, to achieve, but there are possibilities beyond that as well. That's where Bhagavatam kicks in. Yes, now we have a few.
Radhesh Sham are asking, is moksha below Brahmanand, or is there any difference between
No,
the
it's
two?
the same. Brahmanand and moksha are same.
Yeah. And can I quickly make announcements
Sure,
before
sure.
Arun?
That, and then we'll come back to Arunji as well.
Yes.
You wanted to show something, right, Sandhya?
Yeah, maybe I'll quickly first inform about so India tour, Swamiji's India tour is like one event happened and rest of the tour will continue after Diwali. So all the details are up at the website. In fact, which all cities he will be visiting. So people in India, you can all check that. I have posted the link in the chat. Another thing is Diwali. Yes, big Diwali celebrations are coming up. So, but that's a 3-minute long video. Should I show that or
Sure.
Okay, let me just.
Android G is saying moksha is self-realization. We can talk on that topic. It's not God realization. Impersonal Brahman is called moksha basically. We can talk about this concept more.
I think I'll have to share the sound as well, right?
Yes, you have to. It's very important. On your screen, you have an option down below.
This is something
Yeah, our enthusiastic team has created this beautiful video. You can just see how well we are prepared to celebrate Diwali. So
share computer sound. Okay, I think it should be. You can hear it?
Yes. You see some familiar faces here.
सौगातें हूँ तारों की बारातें हूँ दूरी की नबातें हूँ बस मुलाकातें हूँ सबको यही देती संदेशा दीपावली गली गली बन के खुशी छाई रे रोशनी की चादर ओढ़े दीपावली आई रे।
Let's celebrate this Diwali together from October 21st to 25th at Radha Krishna Temple. Happy Diwali!
पे अपने तिलक लगाए आज अपने भाग हम सवारे हमसे धन की देवी रूठे ना कभी डोर सुख चैन की टूटे ना कभी सबको यही देती संदेशा ईदे अली भरे भरे मन खुशी से माते जी चतुर्थी के आलो भरे ईदे अली आशे ए दिवाली चारे पासे बढ़ के खुशी छाई वे रोशनी दे रंग लगे दिवाली आई।
All right, so this is about the Diwali celebrations, at the Radhakrishna temple from October 21st to 25th. And on October 29th, Swamiji will also be here. So whoever is in Dallas, do not miss the opportunity to attend these grand celebrations at the temple. And whoever is not in Dallas and is willing to come, please feel free to and enjoy these festivities. That's it. So now we can take Arunji's questions.
Yes, that was quite some celebration from the bunch of participants. Amazing. If that doesn't make you feel excited about the event, I don't know what else will. So fly over, book your tickets, whatever it takes, come over to Dallas and celebrate with us. Yes, Arunji, your question now. I can take now.
Radhe Radhe Arunji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yeah, that was a good video. Did you have many takes or?
What happened? We
No, I
have.
just asked you, was it done with many takes or was it done like in one, a couple of trials? The video.
We have all Amir Khans here, okay? One take. I don't know, you can ask them. I think it took them about 5-6 hours to complete that.
It took some time.
Yeah,
okay,
5-6 hours, yeah. But our video team is pretty amazing, right? And they cooperated really well. And as you can see, they were all smiling and radiant. That helped as well. So.
Okay. Yeah. I just had some basic questions. So generally, does the scriptures or does the Gita say, that as a human, if you put a certain amount of effort in this lifetime, you're trying to get the knowledge, you're trying to get onto the path, but you're doing your best. But sometimes there'll be actions and good deeds, bad deeds, and all that. So, as in general, as for a human who's on this path or trying to be on this path, do the scriptures say anything about that he can even become anything, or will he be allowed to progress on this path in the next lifetime? Like if you become an animal, it would be difficult, right?
Beautiful question. In fact, the same question is asked by Arjun also to Krishna. He asks him that, Krishna, what happens if, I start on this path, but for some reason I'm not able to complete it? Will I be like that broken cloud which neither rains and gets swept away by the wind or not? And Krishna has answered that. I can get that shloka. I believe it's in chapter 7 probably. He says that, see, first of all, it's his mercy that whatever spiritual gains we make, he's not going to make us lose those. Okay. And then let's say for some reason we are not able to complete our journey. Whenever we come back as humans, again, now it could be back to back also. Okay, I don't know that algorithm. Okay. Maharajji used to say, if you have spent more than 50% of your life related to spirituality and in the pursuit of God, then back to back human life will be possible. But whenever we come back as human, he's going to ensure that we start from that point onwards. And if you have developed advanced level of spiritual understanding and detachment from this world, he will make you get born in a family where you get that spiritual upbringing right from the word go. So he's going to arrange for that, or make you be born in a family where you don't have to worry about food, clothing, and shelter. Maybe a rich family, maybe a highly spiritual family, or maybe a combination of both. So Krishna is going to arrange for that, so you can continue from that point onwards.
Okay. And another question I had is like you mentioned about being in the upper planets of the material world. It's a withdrawal only account, right? So does it mean that you're just meant to enjoy the material luxuries in those planets?
Yes, Bhogyonis. You simply get to enjoy, nothing else.
Okay. But why is it that we cannot have the same thing as the human life in those planets where you do good and bad deeds to progress further?
I don't know why God has given only withdrawal only option there and not a deposit option there. They are called Bhogyonis. Similar to and hellish planets are also like that. They are called Bhogyonis. Once you are exhausted the stockpile of your papas, you are back. Even the animal yonis and other yonis are also Bhogyonis. You cannot really do Purushartha. Like an animal cannot perform a sin or a merit at that point. If a tiger comes and eats a human, it's not considered as a sin. They are Bhogyonis. It is how it has been designed. There must be some reason for that. So,
thank you.
All right, are we good then? Okay, I know we took a lot of discussion, a lot of loaded discussion as well. We'll get into some of the deeper aspects of the different kind of blisses, also moksha, because that question keeps popping up. But for now, I think we can probably fast track to our devotional segment if we have somebody, maybe a couple of participants who want to recite or chant, and then we can call it off for today.
And I forgot to mention about the feedback tracker. So please
Please
fill
do.
the feedback tracker
Yes,
with your
please.
comments, questions, feedback, anything.
Yes,
Thank you.
please. Not, then we can call off today's
Um,
session. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Continued discussion tomorrow. I see one hand. Yes, Manish.
Manish ji. Yeah, Radhe Radhe Manish ji.
Radhe Radhe Manish ji.
Radhe
Please.
Radhe. So this is Monday, so I like to do a small sheep's duty. Okay. Om Nagendra Haraya Trilochanaya Basmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Sudhaya Digambaraya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you.
Dhanyavad. Very nice, Manish ji. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Manish ji. Swati ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Swati ji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I would sing small bhajan. Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Radhe Bhaje Krishna 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 Bhaje Radhe, Radhe Bhaje Krishna 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 Bhaje Radhe, Krishna Bhajo Ya Kripalu Bhajo Radhe Radhe, Bhajo Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe, Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe. Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Radhe. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you very much, Swati ji. Beautiful. Radhe Radhe.
Beautiful, Swati ji. Thank you. Jyoti ji had also raised her hand. She lowered it. Okay.
Okay, I think Jyoti ji has been replaced by Shyam ji now.
Okay, both of them are there now in the queue. Good.
Okay. Are you going to sing a duet then, or maybe one at a time?
Okay, Shyam ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go
Radhe
ahead.
Radhe. Can I try some bhajan?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll try. Shama Kishori Daya Karo, Shama Kishori Daya Karo, Radhe Ladli Daya Karo, Daya Karo, Radhe Daya Karo, Daya Karo, Radhe Daya Karo, Shama Ladli Daya Karo, Radhe Kishori Daya Karo. हम सदीन न कोई जग में, हम सदीन न कोई जग में, बान दया की तनक धरो, बान दया की तनक धरो, श्यामा लाडली दया करो, राधे किशोरी दया करो, दया करो राधे दया करो, दया करो श्याम दया करो, राधे किशोरी दया करो. राधे राधे.
Very nice, Shyam ji. Looks like you're
Awesome.
to a lot of bhajans. Beautiful. Very
This
nicely.
was debut performance, bhajan performance by Shyam ji.
Debut performance. No, he has sung it before as well once.
I have tried before also. Yeah. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Very
Awesome.
nice.
Very nice, Shyam ji.
Beautiful lyrics. Yeah.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful bhajan. All right, we have two more hands. Jyoti, please go ahead. Very nice,
Yes.
Shyam. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Shyam ji. Jyoti, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I'll just sing two lines, and this is also favorite of Nitin ji, and somehow I also started liking it. I'll just sing two lines. मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है, मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है, करते हो तुम कन्हैया मेरा नाम हो रहा है, मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है. राधे राधे.
Very nice, Jyoti. And good to know that you have also employed Lord Krishna to work for you now.
Oh no, it just
He does that regardless anyways, right?
yeah.
Good you're having that realization. It's a good realization basically to have.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
excellent, Jyoti. It was very heartfelt. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Last but not the least, Payal ji, yes, we are ready. We are ready to do Roop Dhyan on your bhajan now. So please go ahead.
Yes, Payal ji. Radhe Radhe. Please
Yeah,
go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Sandhya ji, Nitin ji, and everyone. I'll try today one of Swamiji's bhajan.
Sure.
झूम झूम जाए जिया झूम झूम जाए जिया सुध बुध जागी रे झूम झूम जाए जिया सुध बुध जागी रे ऐसी शाम तेरी लगने लागी रे ऐसी शाम तेरी लगने लागी रे तुझे गली गली तुझे ढूंढू गली गली तुझे ढूंढू गली गली तेरे धुने लागी रे ऐसी शाम तेरी लगने 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 लागी रे मन बस में नहीं तेरे रस में है जिया ऐसा रूप शाम तेरा मोरे मन किया डेरा तेरे दर्श को दिल तेरे दर्श को दिल रहे अनुरागी रे ऐसी शाम तेरी लगने लागी 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 रे Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Payal ji. Beautifully sung. Hari Anand would like it because it gave an impression that it's Swamiji's composition. It's actually Hari Anand's, right? He composed it for Swamiji, but you beautifully sang it. It's one of the, this one and the Bola Radhe, these two have been big hits for JK Yog Music.
Yeah. All of us should maybe go and also listen to this in JK Yog Music. Payal ji, you sang it so beautifully.
Yeah, yeah. And Swamiji has
I just tried, although I could not do justice with this song. I need more practice actually. I need some more practice. But yes, it's an amazing song and I just love it. So I thought of sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to hear the same thing from you again and again. No worries. If you want to practice, you can practice with us.
Yeah, I'll practice and come back again with the same bhajan.
Sure, sure.
Tendulkar doesn't need much practice, okay? No matter what it is. So you always hit the right notes. Wonderful. So thank you, everybody. Great session today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll continue on the discussion. Tomorrow, we will talk about a little more about the different rasas or the blisses that we talk about, right? And see, what are the possibilities, explore that a little more tomorrow. So we'll continue on that. Thank you again for your enthusing participation. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Great rest of your evening. Radhe
Thank
Radhe.
you, everyone. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.